Logan said, pointing. "You are a vampire like Quinn. Also, you're a strange person who seems to be wrapped up in this, more so than you should be. My conclusion is that you are crazy." Peter looked towards Vorden and could see his eyebrow was twitching up and down. If there was one word that Vorden didn't like, it was the word crazy. "Anyway, I propose we all head upstairs to my room, because I have a solution to your little eater problem. Follow me." Logan left the room and Quinn followed behind while signaling to the others that it was all right to do so. "You guys can go ahead without me," Fex said. "I've done my part, so there are no more favors in between us. I did my thing and you did your thing." As the others left the room, Fex was finally able to lie down on his bed. The wound and the strain from the multiple uses of influence skill had drained all his energy. He didn't follow them because he didn't want to be seen as weak in front of the others, afraid that they might use it as a chance to get rid of him. "I'll just go ahead and close my eyes," Fex said as he nearly instantly went to sleep. The boys, except for Fex, had finally made it into Logan's room and made sure that the door was firmly shut behind them. "Are you sure this isn't all a trap, Quinn? How is this guy meant to help us?" Logan whispered. "I don't know," Quinn replied. "He hasn't told me anything yet, but I trust him. He helped me out with the watch and knew about my shadow abilities, yet still didn't tell anyone. I see no reason for him to tell others about this as well." Logan then logged into his computer as usual. From the surface of the computer screen, a light shone out and a projection appeared, allowing the others to see everything that Logan was doing. "The problem is that you need a fresh piece of correct? But the can be rotten, so going to the cemetery is not an option. You also couldn't sneak into the hospital due to the surveillance cameras," Logan explained. He then went on to a certain site. It looked exactly like the marketplace where Quinn had gone on to buy his equipment, only this was slightly different. Instead of a white background on the webpage, it was black. "I will introduce you to a whole new world you probably didn't even know existed," said Logan. "We call this the Dark Marketplace. It contains items that aren't allowed to be sold in the regular marketplace. It even has a request board, one that can evade the eyes of the government." "What kind of things are on there?" Peter asked. "Sometimes they will ask someone to steal information from their competitors. Usually, if there is something that you want to get, you can find it here," said Logan. "I've heard of this before," Vorden said, "but I had no clue how to access it. It seems like only certain people within a group know how to. My family said they would let me know once I am old enough." "That's because the Dark Marketplace only allows certain individuals to get a membership. However, my ability allows me to bypass any restrictions, and I can log in with no worries." Logan then typed into the search bar, and straight away, what they were looking for appeared. The words could be seen: "Fresh, available now, cut less than 24 hours ago." Seeing this scared the others a little. They were still young and naive. They knew the world had taken a turn for the worse, yet this seemed like a few steps too far. But even in the past, in the old age of the internet, there was a similar service like this called the Dark Web. Seeing this, Quinn started to read the description and found something strange. The item had been shrunk, wrapped, and filled with nitrogen to keep it as fresh as possible. It had also been dried of all blood, so the customer could only get the flesh itself. "Logan, could you check for me? Is there any way to get blood?" Quinn asked. The others thought that Quinn perhaps didn't want to rely on Layla or Vorden any longer. If he could get an endless supply online, that would be a big help for him. However, Quinn was hoping for a shortcut, but seeing the fact that dried of blood made him feel a little suspicious of the ensuing transaction. Logan did a quick type, and to his surprise, the screen said, "No results found." This was the Dark Marketplace. As long as there was a demand for something, then they would have it. Yet this time they didn't have blood? It was certainly strange. "I find it odd that there isn't blood on this. Regardless, even before vampires began to exist, some underground hospitals and groups would need them for emergencies. Perhaps I should look into this more." Logan continued to ponder on the subject. "So, are we able to order the flesh then?" Peter asked. Yes, I'll do that for you now," Logan replied. The flesh cost quite a sum. It was around 10,000 credits, the same price as an advanced tier beast core. However, Logan had covered the cost of the flesh for them. He stated that he would much rather let himself do this than allow them to go around the school. Although this was bad in its way, the flesh already existed in the marketplace. The person was dead and there was nothing they could do. Once he placed the order online, just like in the marketplace, he had received a code. When the confirmation was sent, he was ready to receive his package. In his room, Logan had a teleporter receiver for packages. He often ordered things online and on the dark marketplace for parts for his gadgets. After typing the code in, the item suddenly appeared in a box. They opened it up, and it was shrunk, wrapped, and covered with ice, just like the order had said. Quinn used his inspection skill. Thereafter, the description stated that there wasn't a single part of it that had blood on them. After taking it out, they placed the meat in Peter's hands, and Logan couldn't stop staring at him. He was interested in seeing how Peter was able to eat the meat. Although Peter was a little shy, he quickly gobbled up the food. When he saw that it was similar to an animal eating meat, Logan lost his interest once again. 7 of 7 different consumed by your ghoul. Quest complete. Evolution process will begin. Almost at the same time as Quinn had received the notification from the system, a loud groan could be heard from behind him. "Peter, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Vorden said, with a worried expression. He was shaking Peter, who had fallen and was lying on the ground. Peter was clutching his tummy with both hands. He felt like a fire was spreading out from that point all over his body. "Guys, give him some space," Quinn said. "He's evolving. I don't know what he'll turn into or what's going to happen to him next." Quinn knew from his own experience how painful the process of evolving was, but more than that, he was worried about what Peter might turn into. Quinn had immediately asked the system what Peter would evolve into, but the response he received worried him. The system said there were many possibilities, and it couldn't predict which one Peter would evolve into. He had thought that completing his quest and letting Peter evolve would be the end of his problems, but once again, the system had kept some information from him. When lower-class creatures like ghouls evolved, there were many different classes they could change into. Sometimes, by using certain methods, the classes someone would evolve into could be influenced, but mostly it was a random process that depended on the situation and personality of the individual. Every class had its own set of skills, and some were rarer than others. But when Quinn found out about a specific class a ghoul could evolve into, he became very upset. It was the class known as the Wendigo. Out of all the classes Peter could evolve into, this was the worst. It was the only class that would require him to eat. But that was not the only issue with the class. The system had added that because they managed to feed Peter quickly, it wasn't likely he would turn into a Wendigo, but there were no guarantees. All of them stepped back to give Peter some space. Logan turned his spider bots into a cannon attached to his arm and aimed it at Peter. He hadn't covered his whole body this time, but just enough to create the cannon. Logan looked at the others with a determined look on his face. "I'm not taking any chances," Logan said. "There are too many things left in this world that I still need to discover and investigate." Vorden agreed with him and thought his actions were very reasonable. He was glad Logan had something to point at Peter, because he only had the healing ability right now, and that wasn't any help if things went wrong with the evolution. The groans coming from Peter were getting louder, and he started to shake all over. This much pain he had never experienced before. It felt like something was trying to break all the bones in his body.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.